All right, and hello everyone. Welcome back to the Power Man podcast. My name is Rory Paquette, and I know you know that, but I'm just eternally grateful that I get to sit here and do this for a living. Folks, it's absolutely amazing that I get to live this life, and I want to thank all of you who are listening. We are broadcasting simultaneously today between our podcast that's going to go out to all the masses and then to our private men's group, Power of Man Within, where we are building leaders for leaders. And that is the idea of the group, folks. That's what we're going to do. It's really important that we keep getting these messages out. Before we get rolling, normally I would take a sip of my preferred beverage. I don't happen to have it with me, so I'm going to take a quick sip of water and then we're going to do a quick ad. Yeah, that's right. A little late at night for me to be drinking all that coffee because it is so good. But you guys all know what it is. That's right. It's Freedom Hill Coffee at Freedom Hill Coffee on Instagram. Look them up and check them out. Deep, dark, rich, bold, and beautiful. Just like my wife. They brew a mean bean. It's a fantastic cup of joe. They do all the right things for all the right reasons, and they support veterans, which is why we support them. Folks, if you're a veteran out there, and I know we have some of you guys watching right now, please accept my thanks to you and your family for your sacrifice and for what you have gone and done. If you didn't go out and do what you did, I don't get to sit here and have any kind of an opinion at all. Free speech exists in this world, in this country, because of people like you. So thank you for that. I mean it. Folks, look them up and check them out at Freedom Hill Coffee, and tell them Power Man sent you. Now we got that done. Let's get into the topic tonight. And the topic tonight is building your platform. Okay, building your movement, building your leadership group, influencing the lives of other men, being there for men. All right. How many of you guys have ever gotten that phone call? Have ever gotten that text? You've ever gotten that message on Facebook or something where it's like, brother, I can't go on. I don't know what's going on in my life, man. Everything is awful. I have nothing to live for. How many of you guys have ever gotten that? Gotten that message? Gotten that call? I know a lot of you in this group have because I've talked to you about this before. I know a lot of folks who are listening to this that are out there in the masses. You folks, you've gotten these phone calls. You've gotten these things happen before. What do we do? How do we move forward? Folks, the first thing with all of this for guys like this is you just have to respond. Just be there. Just answer the phone. Respond to the text. You don't have to have the actual answer. You don't have to know how to solve it. You don't have to be a psychologist. Believe me, you just need to be there. When someone sends you something like that, I'm telling you right now, what they are doing is they're reaching out for you. They're putting a hand out. At the very least, put yours out too. Take theirs. Let them know they're not alone. Move forward. The most important thing you can do when you get that phone call is respond. Guys, this happens way, way, way too often. We think that men need tough love, right? And we're like, oh, come on, man, buck up. You don't need that. You don't need any of this. If somebody's reaching out, man, it's not up to you to decide whether or not it's real. It's not up to you to decide whether or not they're weak. It's not up to you to decide what they need. Because if they're reaching out in some way where you hear it, the only thing you need to know is at that moment, they need you. They need a hand. That's it. And when another man reaches his hand out to you, he doesn't want to hear about what he should be doing. He doesn't want to hear, how to fix that problem. He doesn't want to hear, man, you know what? Maybe you should get a second job, or maybe you should say this to your wife, or you know what? Why don't you just tell your kids this? When a man reaches out like that, all he wants, all he needs is for you to reach out to. Take his hand and let him know, brother, you're not alone. That's it. And too often, guys, we get all wrapped up in Judgment Day. We think that we can turn around and we can just start judging these guys. Well, maybe you should have done this. Well, you know what? I guess you shouldn't have said that. I've been on both sides of this, and I've made this mistake. I was very, very judgmental when I was younger. I was one of these guys who was like, well, if you want a better life, then go work for it. What's wrong with you? Why are you so weak? Hey, I have problems too. Just get up, get out there. Until my whole world crashed in around my head. And I realized no matter how tough you might be, sometimes, the columns crumble and the kingdom comes down. And sure, in retrospect, there's things you could have done different. You could have looked back and said, well, maybe I should have done this, maybe I should have done that. But, when you're laying there in the rubble and the world's caving in around you, you don't need somebody to come in there with a set of plans and go, well, here's the fault line. Here's where things went bad. You just need somebody to pull you out, man. You just need somebody to reach down, grab your hand, and pull you the hell out. Gentlemen, when all of these things happen, I personally now turn to God. I know a lot of you don't share that faith, and I understand that. That's not something that I judge anybody for. That's not something that I am telling you that you have to do, you should do. I'm telling you that when I started letting God into my life got better, and I'm trying to just lead by example here. But there are an awful lot of men who are believers, who are strong believers in Jesus Christ, and they understand they have a great relationship with that man. And yet, sometimes those are the first men to cast judgment on the guys who need help. Well, if you would have taken our Lord as a Savior, right? Taken Jesus Christ as your Savior, maybe you wouldn't be in this problem. Maybe you wouldn't be having these issues. It's never our job to judge, especially when it's other men, when it's brothers. Guys, we're all fathers or husbands or men. I'm not talking to any women out there right now. I'm just not. That's not to say they don't have issues of their own, but I don't speak out of the side of my head. I don't talk out of both sides of my mouth. I have no idea what it's like to be a woman. I never have been one. I'm never going to tell a woman this is what she should or shouldn't or anything else. Fill in the blank. Nope, not going to happen because I've never done it. I talk to men because I have the scars, man. I've made those mistakes. I've choked on that bone, unfortunately. And I know how rough life gets for us. And I know what happens when we're down at the bottom and we're on the last rung and we're reaching up trying to grab something. And man, we can't get a hold of it no matter what. We put both hands up. We're reaching, we're pulling, we're grabbing, we're clawing. I mean, we're digging into the dirt and we're trying to pull ourselves forward with everything we got. And the weight of the world is on our back. Every need and want and expectation from our wives, from our children, from our friends, right? From our peers, from our employers. It is all right there on our backs. I've been there, guys. You're there every day. Nobody's going to get us out of this except us. And that's why part of the message today, guys, is that when another man is down there, when another man is reaching up, like somehow, brother, I got to find some freaking light. Don't slap his hand away. Don't look at him and say, well, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't be drinking. Maybe you should have gone to the gym more. Because if he's reaching out, he's already down, man. He doesn't need you to kick him further. When I had my most recent big health scare, you guys have all heard this story, so I'm not going to waste your time with it, but I almost died. You guys all know what happened there. But I can't even tell you how many different people, from friends to family to doctors to even my employer, all had something to say about it. Well, maybe you should have been eating better. Maybe you shouldn't have been heavy. I've been telling you, you got to go work out. When none of that had anything to do with the fact that I had pneumonia in like the fourth stage and my lungs shut down. But man, if I'd eaten more vegetables, that wouldn't have happened, right? That bourbon that I might have had a couple of months ago, right? At Thanksgiving. Oh, well, that blew the whole thing out of proportion, didn't it? Yeah. It's so easy to sit in our glass houses, right? Sit up in our big castles and judge. When I was in that spot, I reached up. I reached out a hand. Boss didn't want to hear about it. Matter of fact, when all that happened, my wife very dutifully called my boss when I went into the hospital, and they promptly put me on unpaid leave the next morning. So there is nowhere to turn, guys. Okay, except to other like-minded men. Now, all that being said, this is why I'm constantly encouraging all of you to, in some way, shape, or form, start your own movement. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have your own podcast. It doesn't mean you have to have your own YouTube channel. It doesn't mean you have to be sitting at the top of the stadium at a podium screaming out to the masses, talking to 5,000 people about, oh, do this, do that. No, no, no. It doesn't mean any of that. Starting your own movement could be you at the kitchen table with your sons. There's an idea. It could be you with your buddies out at bowling night and saying, you know what, today, let's stop smoking. Hey guys, today let's cut back on the drinking. Today let's not have 5 cheeseburgers, right? And then the cheese with the curly fries. Let's take it easy on our hearts a little bit today, maybe. And it's all about leading by example everywhere you go. Every little thing you do could be a movement. Now, when you do it like I'm doing it, and you're talking to thousands of men on a podcast, and you're talking to hundreds of men in a group, it's a little different. But it's taken me years to build this up and have this many people to talk to. And when I first started, it was me and a podcast, and I don't know, maybe 20 people listening to it, tops. But I still talked. And I still put it out there. And after I did a whole bunch of episodes where maybe 10 or 20 people heard it, a few more heard it. And I kept talking. And I kept doing everything in my power to lead anyone who would listen. And then a few more started to listen. And a few more came along. Gentlemen, there were about 100 times in those first couple years of doing this podcast and doing the things that I do, that I doubted everything I was doing, completely thought I was going to fail at all of it. I had imposter syndrome like crazy. And I said, why would anybody want to listen to some, heavy old guy, you know what I mean, who was divorced once and remarried and, trying to put things together and, has scars on his body. Why would anybody want to listen to this guy? And I just kept telling myself, because he has something to say. Because this guy, and all of those faults, has learned so many things. Because this guy, when he was at his lowest point ever, was more alone than he's ever been in his life. And he doesn't want men to have to go through that. And so, gentlemen, I've gotten that phone call. I've gotten that message from Facebook, at 3 o'clock in the morning, beep, beep. Bro, do you have a minute? My dad just did this. My son just did this. I just found my wife with another man. I just got the call my son was in an accident. I've been drinking for the last several hours, and I'm not sure if I'm going to make it till tomorrow. Those are real calls from real people. And I'm not a therapist, and neither are you, probably. And we're not called to give the right answer in those circumstances. We're not called to fix the thing. We are simply called by God to take the hand of the man who's reaching out. And the only thing stronger, guys, than reaching out and taking that man's hand is teaching other men or teaching our sons to be that man that reaches out and takes his hand. So I'm calling on all of you. Every single one of you can do this. I'm calling on all of you guys right now. Don't fix it. Don't judge it. When your brother is reaching out, just be there. Just take his hand. That's all you're called to do. So do it. Do it. When God puts you in that position, he's not asking you to do something that you're incapable of. He's asking you to do something that you're very well equipped for. He's asking you to simply be there the way you would love someone to be there for you. I know you can all do it. I know you can all do it. And like I said, I've gotten all those phone calls. I know a lot of you guys have too. And I think the thing to do is to be ready. So you know what, gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Because if you haven't gotten that phone call yet, if you haven't gotten that message yet that says, man, I have absolutely no idea how I'm ever going to make it. If you haven't gotten that call that says, I'm not going to make it till tomorrow, I don't want you to get caught off guard when you get that. When you do reach out, take the hand and be there. And most of the time, that's going to be more than enough. Appreciate all you guys who came on, you guys who joined in late. Please go back and listen to this at the beginning. It's not that long. And it will also be on our podcast tomorrow, one of our steel core moments. We're going to be doing more of these. So let me know what you think of the steel core moments. If you haven't had a chance to tune into the podcast and listen to them, they're very much like this. They're short, they're sweet, they're to the point, and we try to make a little bit of an impact. So I'd love to hear what every one of you gentlemen think about what we're doing with those, and you know what we're doing with it here in the group too. So all of you, I love you. Be good. We'll talk soon. Peace.